Sorry about the technical difficulties. I don't know what was going on. For some reason, internet went out and it shouldn't have went out. I don't know what is going on with the internet here. This is bogus. Can't complain though. So I'm going to jump back into reading. I'll just start from the very beginning because I don't know how much of y'all missed because I didn't realize I was not connected until it was too late. Yes, I can see your comments, Scott. I don't know what's going on. It was disconnecting and reconnecting from the internet repeatedly. I had to reset everything. I really don't know what was going on with that. That was my fault. I should have checked everything before I got into reading. So since I was still reading after screen blanked out on you guys on this end, I'm going to start over. Um, and I'm sorry in advance. That's all I can do is apologize at this point. I know next reading I will check all this stuff prior to going live, making sure everything is set up the right way. Um, Thank you guys for coming back in. I really appreciate it all you guys' support. It was not what I was planning on having happen, but it happened. We're gonna roll with the punches and we're gonna keep going. I'm really excited to answer your guys' question about this chapter. So if you guys want to tell me the last thing we're gonna be reading before the screen blanked out, we might be able to start from there if everybody agrees on a cohesive unit. So let me know what do you guys remember? Yes, Amber, I can see your comments. I just didn't bring it on the screen. Use you to find out next time. Scott, brother man, I would not have known if Amber hadn't blew up my phone and know what was going on. Because I had my whole screen blacked out. I had nothing but the book and I couldn't see anything. So all I saw was, or all I heard was Amber blowing me up. And then when I checked the messages, it was telling me that it was disconnected. She couldn't see me on screen. She didn't know what was going on. And it turns out it was my Wi Fi router. So I had to reset everything. Does anybody remember where I was at, or we all agreed on a reset? Welcome back, JJ. All right, so if you guys don't have a unilateral decision on where we were at when we left off, I'm just going to start from the very beginning. I'm losing viewers though. What the hell? There, Amber. Everybody can see your message now. Is that the part where little sister was talking about school? Okay, that's the family dinner scene. I can start there. Does everybody agree with that? Starting at the family dinner scene. Going once, going twice. Scott, Amber, unilateral decision there. Miss Blue, Aunt Rhonda. Miss Blue's here. All right, so JJ has said that we've given me a starting point, so I ain't got to start all the way back over. Do you want me to start all the way back over, or do you want me to start from his jumping off point, which was the family dinner scene? Because if you want me to start all the way over, I can do that. I'm just trying to get something going on unilateral here. Let me know what we're doing, guys. Allergies are killing me today, just so you guys know. Happened. I don't know why that happened. Sorry about that, guys. All right. That'll be the jumping off point. We will start there. Later that evening, Alex sat at the dinner table, pushing his mashed potatoes around his plate while his 5-year-old sister Amy chattered about her day at kindergarten. And then Miss Peterson let me feed the class hamster. Amy bounced in her seat, her pigtails swinging with excitement. Can we get a hamster, Daddy, please? Sheriff Alhon Ruler looked up from his pot roast, his badge gleaming under the dining room light where it rested on the sideboard. That's quite a responsibility, Princess. Maybe when you're a bit older. I could help take care of it, Alex offered quietly, grateful for any conversation that didn't involve questions about his day. His mother, Eunice, paused in serving more vegetables onto Amy's plate. Speaking of responsibility, Alex, how was school today? Did you turn in that science project? Alex nodded, avoiding his father's steady gaze. Got an A minus. Minus? Sheriff Ruler's deep voice carried a note of disappointment. What went wrong? Alhan, Eunice warned softly, but the sheriff continued. A ruler stands for excellence, son. We uphold the law, maintain order. That means giving everything our best shot. He set down his fork. You've been distracted lately. Is something going on at school? Alex thought about Douglas and David, about Ken's intervention in the Boafang Karate Dojo. He thought about telling his father everything, but the words stuck in his throat. How could he admit to being bullied when his father represented strength and authority to the whole town? I made a new friend today, he said instead. His name's Ken. He just moved here from Sacramento. The Mansons? Eunice brightened. I met his mother at the grocery store. Lovely woman. We should have them over for dinner sometime. Can Ken bring his hamster? Amy piped up hopefully. Ken doesn't have an hamster, Amy. Alex couldn't help but smile at his sister, but he could get one, she insisted with the logic of a 5-year-old. Sheriff Ruler's stern expression softened slightly. It's good you're making friends, son, but remember what I always say. A ruler never shows fear, Alex finished automatically. Under the table, his hands clenched into fists. May I be excused? I have homework. His mother nodded, concern flickering across her face. As Alex pushed back his chair, his father spoke again. Son? Sheriff Ruler's voice was quieter now. You know you can always come to me if something's wrong, right? Alex paused in the doorway, the weight of unspoken words heavy on his shoulders. Yes, sir, he replied, then headed upstairs to his room. Behind him, he could hear Amy launching into another story about her day. His mother's gentle laughter, his father's deep chuckle. Normal family sounds that should have been comforting but somehow made him feel even more alone. Sitting at his desk, he pulled out his slightly bent magic cards from his backpack, remembering how Ken had stood up to the bullies. Through his window, he could see the light still on at the Boa Fang Karate Dojo. Maybe there was a way to make his father proud and stand up for himself at the same time. Maybe it was time to stop running from his fears and step into the world of martial arts. With a newfound resolve, he took a deep breath, absorbing the quiet of his room and the promise of new friendships. The spark of hope began to light the way forward, one that he would soon discover would lead him on a journey far beyond anything he could have imagined. Now that we're at the end of chapter one, this is where I open the floor for questions from the audience. You can ask me any questions you want to ask. Nothing is off the table as long as it doesn't pertain to future events in the story. I will answer them. Um, I have permission from just about every character in the book to tell you who they're based off of, and the ones that I do not, I'll have to pass on that. So questions can come in at any time, and I will start answering them now. That was chapter one of Taigapagon Enter the Dragon. Sorry, Enter the Tiger. You guys will be pleased to know that Taigapagon Taming the Dragon is at the editor. I will say this for an opening chapter of a book, that thing, chapter one of Taigapagon gives you a lot of information really fast, but it sets the tone for the rest of the story. And I hope you guys caught several of the Easter eggs that I planted throughout that story, throughout that first chapter. I'm talking to you, Amber, you, Scott, you, Miss Blue, and you, JJ, to pick up on these Easter eggs that I hid throughout chapter one. And if I got to reread the whole thing, you guys again, I will. Just let me know what I need to do. Did the sheriff know his son was being bullied without his son saying anything? At this point in the story, I don't think he knows, but he does eventually find out. Yes, these are the same characters that are in Hometown Justice. This just shows how the three main characters of Hometown Justice became best friends. You were introduced to Alex first, then to Ken, and you'll eventually meet Ty. Where did I get the name Alhan? I remember I seriously thought it's pronounced Alan at first. I'm gonna give you the politically correct answer, and then I'm gonna give you the nerdy answer. Politically correct answer, I was just messing around with names. The nerdy answer, I had to create a character in creative writing class, and I came up with the name Alhan then because Dragon Ball Z fan. And I tried to stick to the naming conventions that Akira Toriyama used. So the character of Grandpa Gohan named Goku using the first two letters of his name and gave him Goku. So when I named the character of Alhan, I used the first two letters of the word Alex and put the word Han at the end of it as a tribute, homage to Grandpa Gohan. I'm gonna kill my camera for just a second, but I'm still gonna be here. Keep asking your questions. All right, I'm back. I like that question, Amber. I like the way you think deep and try to get meanings of names. So thank you for that. You're almost on par with Scott when it comes to asking questions. You and Scott sharing messages. Also, Amber, I want to comment on this. For those of you that don't know, my wife reads my books to the kids. She reads aloud. And Amber, even though I told you repeatedly how to pronounce the name, you still pronounce it as Alan. No messages about questions have been shared. We're both just smart. I can believe Scott's smart. You might need some help occasionally. Is Paisley telling you what questions to ask me? You usually don't ask questions that make me think that deep. JJ, I'm gonna go back to your question about the same characters in Hometown Justice. All the characters that appear in this prequel series will appear at some point in Hometown Justice. Um, so when Hometown Justice Homecoming was released, no one really cared what happened before that book started, but then Hometown Justice Rebellion started or was released, and then Aftermath was released. And my study group was torn between Casey Elkins and getting a prequel. So they got both. Uh, and a lot of the stuff that people want to see is what happens in the 11 years that Alex is gone from Pokeville. Because at the beginning of Hometown Justice, he's been gone for 11 years. Um, but they want to find out what happened in that 11 years he was gone in the military. I took it back further and wanted to give the origin story of the Tagapagon Brotherhood because that word does appear several times in Hometown Justice, and I wanted to bring it and give lore behind it. So I did that prequel first. I will eventually write one-off adventure explaining how Alex meets his friends in the military that make an appearance in Hometown Justice. Not spoiling it, and why they were chosen for that particular mission. I'm sorry, Amber, you think it's rude. Got what on the TV? Yes, Miss Blue, I know you think Casey Elkins is one of the best characters I've ever written, and I know you're just fiending for the chance for me to read her books. But everybody said they wanted it in chronological order, so we're going to start with Tagapagon and work our way to her. Unfortunately, Casey does not appear at all until Hometown Justice Aftermath, which is book 3 in Hometown Justice. So you still got Tagapagon 1, 2, and 3, then Hometown Justice 1, 2, and 3 before you get Casey Elkins introduced. And I'm gonna be honest with you, her introduction, I've had several people pointed out to me, felt rushed. So I apologize for the way it feels. I am currently in the process of sitting down and restructuring the books so they're not as rushed because I do feel like some of the books were rushed hearing somebody else read them. Oh, sounds okay. Hey, Ty Ty. All right, Blacksburg High School, middle school, elementary school, and primary school. I just received word that bus 5 and 6 do not have a morning driver in the morning. So do with that information as you will. Good. I'm glad he got excited. All right, show of hands. Who wants another chapter? I'm in a mood. I'll read one more chapter for you guys since we had that technical hiccup. I need 5 people to say they want another chapter, and I'll give you guys another chapter tonight. If you guys can handle hearing my voice for that long, I think I got time to do another chapter and answer some more answer questions about it. I got 2 votes for an extra chapter, 3 votes for an extra chapter. Looks like majority rules. I have nobody else saying no. We'll dive into another chapter. We'll go right into chapter two. Chapter two. Saturday morning arrived bright and clear, the sun pouring through the trees and warming the pavement as Alex pedaled toward the Boa Fang Karate Dojo. The crisp air filled his lungs, invigorating him, but his nerves churned in equal measure. He straightened his posture, trying to channel the confidence of Yusei from Dragon Buster X. His favorite anime character would know exactly what to say, exactly how to present himself to a martial arts master. As he rode down Main Street, Alex passed the old community center where a weathered martial arts classes banner fluttered in the breeze. He'd heard rumors about a different instructor who taught there, but Boafang was where all the serious students trained. At least that's what everyone said. The steady whir of his bike's wheels seemed to echo his racing thoughts. This was it, a chance to take the first step toward reclaiming his confidence and learning how to stand up for himself. Just like Yusei had faced the Thunder Dojo in episode 12, Alex told himself, though somehow this felt a lot scarier than watching it on TV. As Alex approached the dojo, the muffled sounds of training seeped through the walls. The rhythmic thuds of feet against the mats and the sharp, commanding voice of an instructor stirred his anticipation. He hesitated just outside, taking a moment to gather himself. His heart pounded as he reached for the door, brushing a strand of hair out of his eyes. When Alex stepped inside, the air smelled faintly of sweat and rubber mats, mingling with the faint aroma of incense. The dojo was alive with movement and energy. Students of varying ages paired off, practicing their forms with precision and focus. The slap of bare feet against the floor mixed with the grunts of exertion as punches and kicks landed on padded targets. At the center of it all was Usanagi, the head instructor. He was tall and broad shouldered, his commanding presence matched by the sharp focus in his eye. He moved among the students with the air of quiet authority, his black belt a stark symbol of his experience and skill. Something in his bearing reminded Alex of his father, that same unmistakable air of authority that seemed to demand respect. Alex lingered near the doorway, clutching the strap of his backpack tightly. His gaze swept across the room as anxiety crept in. Everyone seemed so confident, so sure of their movements. Could he really belong here? Shaking off the doubt, Alex stepped. Try that again. Shaking off the doubt, Alex stepped further inside. "Excuse me," Alex called out, his voice firm despite the nervous flutter in his chest. "I'm here to join." The room seemed to pause. Usanagi stopped mid-instruction, his sharp eyes narrowing as he turned to Alex. Several students paused their practice, watching with varying degrees of interest. A few other students, we'll read that again. A few older students exchanged glances, their expressions unreadable. "This is not a social club, boy," Usanagi said, his voice low and steady. He studied Alex for a moment as if weighing something in his mind. "Why do you want to learn karate?" Alex Alex's carefully prepared speech deserted him under the penetrating Alex's Carefully prepared speech deserted him under that penetrating gaze. I want to get stronger, he managed, thinking of Douglas and David, of all the times he'd felt powerless. Strength without wisdom is meaningless, Usanagi replied, his eyes narrowed. Tell me, what is the difference between a lunging strike and a jab? Alex's confidence wavered. The words danced just beyond his reach. He stammered, trying to piece together an answer. Well, you see, a few snickers rippled through the younger students. Some of the other older ones looked away uncomfortably, while others watched with concern. A teenage girl in a brown belt frowned at the laughing students but remained silent. Enough! Usanagi barked silence, the laughter instantly. He strode toward Alex, his presence towering. This is not a place for those who are unprepared. The path of martial arts requires dedication, understanding, and respect, not just the desire to be strong. Leave my dojo. Alex's throat tightened as his chest burned with embarrassment. I just wanted to learn, he said softly, his voice barely audible. I've studied. I I watched Dragon Buster X. I know about. This is not your cartoons, Usanagi cut him off, his tone cold and final. This is reality. You are not ready. Leave. As Alex turned his head low, he felt a new wave of humiliation crash over him. The door creaked as he opened it, but before he could step outside, a familiar voice stopped him in his tracks. Well, 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 look who it is, Douglas sneered, leaning against the door frame. His smug grin was matched by the mocking glint in his eyes. The little wannabe fighter. Did Daddy not sign you up for karate classes? Alex's stomach was twisting as Douglas's voice carried into the dojo. A few younger students began to chuckle again, though most now looked uncomfortable with the situation. Go on, Alex, Douglas continued, stepping closer. Run along before you get hurt. The words stung, sharper than any strike. Alex clenched his fists, his nails digging into his palms. He wanted to lash out, to prove them all wrong, but he felt frozen, powerless in the face of their mockery. The room seemed to blur around him as he forced himself to turn away, stepping out into the sunlight. Outside, Alex leaned against the brick wall of the building, his chest heaving with frustration and shame. The laughter still echoed in his mind, each chuckle another blow to his confidence. He thought of Yusei, of how his hero always managed to find strength in moments of defeat. There are two very important days in a person's life, Yusei's voice echoed in Alex's memory from the show's pivotal episode. The day they are born and the day they discover why. The words gave Alex pause, and for a moment his fists unclenched, but the sting of his failure still burned, reality feeling far harsher than any anime episode. With a burst of frustration, Alex slammed his fist against the wall. Pain shot up his arm as the rough brick scraped his knuckles, leaving a streak of blood that trickled down his fingers. The physical pain felt like a bitter mirror to the emotional turmoil inside him. Outside, Alex leaned against the brick wall of the building, his chest heaving with frustration. Down a few kids were heading into the community center, carrying gym bags. He wondered briefly what kind of training happened there, but quickly pushed the thought aside. After this humiliation, how could he show his face at any martial arts class in town? He thought of Yusei, of how his hero always managed to find strength in moments of defeat. Why is it repeating again? As Alex pedaled home, he took the long way, avoiding Main Street, the community center, and the park. He wasn't ready to think about martial arts again, not yet. But somewhere in the back of his mind, a small voice whispered that maybe there was more than one path to finding strength. Alex coasted his bike into the driveway, relief flooding through him at the sight of his dad's empty parking spot. The cruiser was gone, which means he had time to clean up before Alex. His father's voice stopped him cold. Sheriff Ruler stepped out from the garage where he'd been organizing his tools, a weekend ritual as predictable as his morning coffee. His eyes immediately found Alex's bloody knuckles. Inside, now. Alex's stomach dropped as he followed his father through the kitchen. His mom was out grocery shopping with Amy. Small mercies, at least. He didn't think he could handle his sister's innocent questions or his mother's worried looks right now. In the bathroom, Alhan pulled out the first aid kit with practiced efficiency. Sit, he commanded, pointing to the closed toilet lid. Alex obeyed, trying not to wince as his father took his hand and examined the scraped knuckles under the harsh bathroom light. You want to tell me what happened? Alhan's voice was calm, but Alex knew that tone. It was the same one he used when interrogating suspects, patient, expecting the truth to emerge eventually. I fell off my bike, Alex muttered. Alhan dabbed antiseptic on the wounds, his touch firm but careful. Try again. These aren't from a bike fall. He tapped Alex's knuckles gently. These are from hitting something, possibly a wall given the scraping pattern. Sometimes Alex hated having a sheriff for a father. Every scrape, every bruise, every minor injury became evidence to be analyzed. It's nothing, Alex insisted, but his voice cracked slightly. Nothing? Alhan's eyebrows rose. Son, I've seen enough injuries in my line of work to know the difference between accidents and anger. These marks, he gestured toward Alex's hands, these were caused by frustration, rage even. That's not nothing. Alex stared at the front floor, watching a drop of water from the faucet create a dark spot on the bath mat. The silence stretched between them heavy with unspoken words. Alex, his father's voice softened slightly. If someone's hurting you, no one's hurting me. Alex yanked his hand away, immediately regretting the outburst when he saw his father's expression harden. I mean, it's not like that. Alhan leaned against the sink, crossing his arms. Then what is it like? The question hung in the air, and suddenly Alex felt the weight of the morning's humiliation crashing down on him. The mocking laughter, Usanagi's dismissal, Douglas's taunts, it all swirled together and into a knot of shame in his chest. I tried to join the Boa Fang dojo, he finally admitted, his voice barely above a whisper. Something flickered across his father's face. Surprise, maybe even pride, before settling back into his usual stern lines. And Alex swallowed hard. They said I wasn't ready, that I didn't belong there. Alhan was quiet for a long moment, studying his son's downturned face. When he spoke, his voice carried unexpected weight. You know, when I first joined the police academy, my instructor said the same thing to me. Alex's head snapped up. What? First day of training, Alhan's lips curved into a slight smile. I was cocky, thought I knew everything. The instructor took one look at me and said I wasn't ready to wear the badge. But you're the sheriff now. Because I didn't let one person's opinion define me, Alhan knelt down, meeting Alex's eyes. A ruler never shows fear, son, but it doesn't mean we never feel it. It means we face it. We learn from it. He picked up the antiseptic again, finishing the treatment on on Alex's knuckles. But we don't punch walls. That's not the way to prove anyone wrong. Alex felt tears pricking at his eyes and blinked them back furiously. Yes, sir. As Alhan wrapped the bandage around Alex's knuckles, his movements were gentler than before. Next time you feel like hitting something, come find me. We'll set up a punching bag in the garage. He paused, then added, and Alex, there's more than one way to learn martial arts in town. Maybe Boa Fang isn't the right place for you to start. Alex nodded, not trusting himself to speak. His father's words about the police academy kept echoing in his mind, mixing with Yusei's quote about discovering why you were born. Maybe today wasn't just about failure. Maybe it was about finding a different path. Thanks, Dad, he managed finally. Alhan squeezed his shoulder once, then straightened back up. Get cleaned up, your mother will be home soon, and you know how she worries. He headed for the door, then stopped. And son, I'm proud of you for trying. Remember that. As his father's footsteps faded down the hall, Alex looked at his bandaged hand in the mirror. The shame was still there, but something else had taken root alongside it. A quiet determination that felt different from his earlier anger. His father was right. Maybe there was another way forward. He just had to find it. Now, questions for chapter 2, guys. I think that is probably one of the best chapters in this book. Me personally, as the author, it took a lot of research for me for me to write that. Yes, I've taken creative liberties with this. Yes, I have modified the story more than once. And yes, I noticed that the story was repeating itself, and I'm going to fix that myself. So thanks for you guys tuning in and listening. Let's hear your questions. Did you cry when writing the speech from Alhan, or am I the only one who got teary eyed? I didn't cry, but I know someone that did. Can't give his name though. So Amber wants to know how many other people got teary eyed when Alhan was giving the speech to Alex. JJ, you know how to make a brother feel special. You know that, right, bro? So as soon as I figure out how to get the audiobook recorded, I'm gonna send you a copy of it for free. Miss Baloo says, "Why is she full on crying?" She just didn't get teary eyed, Amber. She started crying. I did that scene that scene with Alex and Alhan is an emotional scene. It is emotionally driven, and it sets the foundation for some of the things that Alex learns moving forward. I do want to point out that Dragon Buster X, the character of Yusei, they're all made up. They're fictional. There is no anime named Dragon Buster X. I created that entirely for this universe. It gets mentioned a lot, especially in the Tagapagon prequel. And then again, you'll hear it mentioned in Hometown Justice Homecoming when Alex reunites with his friends after 11 years. So it's a big part of the lore, but it's not a part of the lore. It's all fictional. Miss Baloo, Amber said she would have cried too, but if she would have cried, Tyson would have cried, and no, thank you. So she refrained from crying. So you're not alone, Miss Baloo. You're not alone. Do have, it's good that I can cause tear jerk reactions to people. That makes me feel good as an author that I got the emotion that I wanted to drive from my audience. Hey, Jage, is the birthday twin listening with you, or is she at work? So, funny story. JJ and I have been friends since like middle school. Um, his wife is also named Amber, and his wife's birthday is the same day as mine. So, if you ever hear me reference the birthday twin talking to JJ, that is who I'm talking about. His wife, Amber. That's how I tell them apart. And I don't care what his Facebook name says. He's gonna be called JJ by me. I don't know anybody that calls him Johnny Jack. It's angry at him, but I've never called him Johnny Jack or anything like. It's always been JJ. I agree, Miss Baloo. When you can make someone feel something while reading, it is very, very rare ability that a lot of today's authors lack. Excuse me. Um, and that's because a lot of them use AI to write the entire book. Um, I don't use AI to write the entire book. I use AI to check the continuity and make sure everything is flowing right. This is the comment I just replied to, guys. I'm glad to hear it. You got to have her watch too, especially when y'all's characters make an appearance. But that's not going to be for like Hometown Justice Homecoming. We still got two of the books to go to. Thank you, Amber. Thank you very much. That part. And it's funny you asked me after the first Casey Elkins book was released if I used AI to help write the second one. I don't know why I'm so tired, guys. All right, JJ, you have a good night. Thank you for tuning in. Tune in tomorrow night. I'm having a very special guest. Mr. Dante Black is stopping by to chit chat with us, talk about his Twitch channel, and we're gonna have discuss some really cool things. He's got some questions to ask me about my books for him, so we're gonna on that parade. So I will see you later, JJ. Thanks for tuning in. Amber, coffee doesn't make the world go round. That's money. Else has any questions? I'm gonna go ahead and call this a night. Tune in next Monday for the next two chapters. I'm gonna start doing two chapters. That way we can get through the books faster. Next two chapters. Bring your questions. If you don't already have the physical copy to follow along, order it on Amazon. Maybe it'll be here before next week. And I'll see you guys next week. Next Monday to be exact. See you tomorrow night for the Dante Black episode. Have a good night. I'm out.